How's it going, guys? Today I'm going to show you what it's like to drive the 599 GTO from a first-person point of view. Under the hood of the GTO is a 6-liter naturally aspirated V12 that makes 661 horsepower and 457 pound-feet of torque. It revs to 8,400 RPM and can hit 0 to 60 in 3.1 seconds. It's mated to a 6-speed, single-clutch automated manual transmission that can shift in as little as 60 milliseconds. For reference, Formula One cars at the time took 40 milliseconds to shift. This thing is all about performance. Not only does it have more horsepower than the Ferrari Enzo, it's also faster around the track with a 1 minute and 24-second Fiorano time, a second faster than the legendary Enzo. The 599 GTO got its name from the legendary 1962 to 64 250 GTO, the most important Ferrari in all of Ferrari's history. Meaning this is a serious beast. When it came out in 2010, Ferrari said it was the most extreme sports car they had ever developed. It's based on the 599 GTB, except it weighs 220 pounds less, revised aerodynamics, more power, better suspension. An easy way to tell the difference between the two is this grille is finished in satin silver. It's also got additional vents in the hood for better cooling. But one of the coolest parts of the GTO versus the 599 GTB are these flying buttresses right here that add in downforce and improve aerodynamics. You can actually see through them all the way to the back of the car. If you come to the rear of the GTO, you'll notice the rear diffuser has been made significantly larger for more downforce. It looks like it's straight out of the 599 XX race car, and we've got that legendary GTO badge. The interior of the GTO is all about weight savings. The seats are made entirely of carbon fiber. We've got really nice leather, although most GTOs are finished entirely in Alcantara. Notice the door cards are carbon fiber as well, with this floating bridge for the controls. Let's hop inside. The interior is very driver focused. The wheel feels fantastic in your hands. Massive carbon fiber paddles for that single clutch gearbox. Manatino dial for different driving modes. We've got wet modes, sport, race, traction off, and everything off. The engine start stop button. Right here it says limited, 1 of 599, because they only made 599 of these. Carbon absolutely everywhere. There's actually a radio underneath here as well. Climate controls are relatively ugly, but they are functional and it works well. This is the launch control button or power start, reverse, and to change between automatic and manual. The seats are gorgeous. I love that they don't even have floor mats. It's just bare metal to save weight. It's actually relatively practical. You've got storage space back here as well as a trunk. Now to fire up the GTO, we'll go ahead and insert the key here. Go ahead and click the engine start button. And it fires up that naturally aspirated V12. And it's gonna beep at us a million times because that's what Ferraris do when they start up. A picture of the engine there. I love the instrument cluster. Amazing 8,400 RPM redline, 220 miles an hour on the speedo. We've got a display and mode button here, so you can run through several different display options. The graphics aren't amazing, but hey, for 2011, they are not bad. All right, guys, let's go ahead and shift it into drive by pulling the right paddle. To put it into manual mode, click auto, funny enough. Put it into race mode, the best mode. It's got advanced track F1 traction control, and it's not going to kill me. Let's see what it's like to drive. All right, behind the wheel of the 599 GTO now. Oh my God. That sounds so ridiculous. Oh my God, one of the best sounding Ferraris ever. That V12 is just so raw and angry. Holy crap, it's fast. 661 horsepower doesn't do this thing justice. It feels like 900 when you're flat out with this angry V12, my God. At 3,500 pounds, it's not the lightest Ferrari ever made, that's for sure. It's got a lot to deal with, a massive V12 in the front of the car. But man, it feels a lot more nimble than that in the corners. I was very excited to get behind the wheel of this car, having driven the 812 Competizione and the F12 TDF. Obviously, this is the predecessor to the TDF. And knowing how good those cars are, I knew that this would be potentially even better. And while it doesn't quite have the performance capabilities, of course, of the 812 Comp, it's so raw And it's so fun at low speeds, it's actually insane. Now, I was a bit afraid that the single clutch automated manual was gonna detract from the experience so much that it'd be hard to love the car. It kind of happens to me with the SV and the SVJ, but it couldn't be farther from the truth in the case of the 599 GTO. The way they've done the single clutch automated manual is incredible. At low speeds, it does sway a little bit in between gear shifts, but not nearly as much, and it's not nearly as sluggish and kind of feeling dumb like the Aventador. And then at high speeds, it just bangs between gear shifts. Not in too jerky of a nature where it kind of throws the balance of the car off, just in the perfect amount, and then the downshifts are seemingly violent. It's also surprisingly easy to drive. The visibility is fantastic, so much better in terms of visibility than any Lamborghini V12 car. You feel open and airy in the cabin. It's just such a nice place to be. The steering's got plenty of feedback. The MagneRide suspension soaks up bumps so well, but still has very limited body roll in the corners. This thing is so impressive in every regard. I love the analog instrument cluster. The analog nature of the entire vehicle is just insane. And then that soundtrack is just almost silly. I mean, it doesn't get much better than a naturally aspirated Ferrari V12 that revs to 8,400 RPM. And honestly, it's really fun to just cruise in around town as well. It feels lively even at slow speeds. Even right now going, what, 21 miles per hour along the coast. It's fun. You feel the vibrations, the steering is talking to you. It feels, I know it's a lame thing to say, but people say, you dance with your Ferrari, you don't drive it. But it really does feel like this dance, communicating back and forth with this absolute death trap. Now, different driving modes to choose from. In race mode, it's got F1 inspired traction control that really does hold the car in place and save you from tragedy. If you turn it all the way off, I'm sure it is sketchy at best. If it was my car, of course I would try it. But given the fact that this is a $1 million to $1.3 million car that's not my own, I'm not going to do that. Maybe on a racetrack, that would be fun. And I imagine taking this out on a racetrack would be absolutely insane, especially given the fact that it's a little bigger in the tight and narrow roads. It's, you know, a little bit scarier to go fast, to say the least. But man, what a joy it is to be behind the wheel of the GTO. The seats are fantastic as well. They're super comfortable and supportive at the same time. They also look visually amazing. Once again, compared to Lamborghini seats, it's almost hilarious that Lamborghini didn't just, I don't know, benchmark a single Ferrari to see, hey, they've done the interior quite a lot better, and the visibility and the comfort and luxury is leagues ahead. But you know, it is what it is. I love the carbon fiber everywhere. I really don't have any complaints with this car. The only thing that I'm not in love with is the climate control vents are a little bit ugly. Some of the buttons are kind of plasticky. These rubberized buttons get sticky over time. That's a classic Ferrari issue. But look, this is a race car for the road. None of that, in my eyes, legitimately detracts from the 599 GTO. I don't actually care about that stuff, but if I'm nitpicking the biggest details, that's pretty much all I can come up with this entire car is some of the buttons. I don't even wish it had a modern dual clutch transmission. Obviously at the time that would have been impossible, but I like the analog nature of the single clutch. I think it gives a lot of character to this GTO. And while I haven't driven a 250 GTO or a 288 GTO, I absolutely would love to at some point in the future, given the opportunity. You know, the McLaren F1 and the 250 GTO are the grail cars to review. I think it very much deserves its GTO nameplate. Special thanks to the Audrain Museum and Collection for making this possible. I've got a link to their YouTube channel as well as their Instagram in the description below. Let's listen to this thing one more time, shall we? Oh my God. biggest thanks in the world to the All-Terrain Collection. Please, guys, follow them, because driving this has been a dream come true. All right, guys, see you next video.